Hi everyone, and in this video I will be discussing second wave feminism here in the US. To start off, the feminist movement as a whole first began in July 19th, 1848 in Seneca Falls, New York, which is known as the birthplace of the women's rights movement and where the first women's rights convention was held. This first wave of feminism was primarily focused on gaining legal rights, primarily the right to vote and to own property. But this wave lacked inclusivity and was heavily centered on the rights of white women, especially those in the upper class, and these shortcomings are what fueled the second wave. It's important to understand what catalyzed this era of feminism, such as different works of literature, such as The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir and The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan, as well as the Civil Rights Movement, Anti-Vietnam War Movement, and the sexual revolution of the 50s to 70s. Each of these campaigns sought legislative and judicial reform to end discrimination and intolerance. They heightened social awareness of the fact that race, class, and gender are all interrelated with each other. Hundreds of thousands of women were realizing that they weren't the only ones who were deeply dissatisfied with the role of traditional housewife, and that in fact most, if not all of them, were tired of settling for less. So beginning in 1963, this era extended past women's suffrage and challenged political, economic, and social norms of femininity. It was centered on the core goals of workplace equality, political participation, reproductive rights, sexual liberation, legal equity, and increased educational opportunities. During the start of this era, it was mainly non-hierarchical, but during the bureaucratization stage, when internal structures became organized and women were being elected for different staff and managerial positions, this movement really propelled forward. The National Organization, or NOW, was founded by Betty Friedan in 1966, where important decisions were made by an elected national board. The NOW focused on promoting broad gender equality and sought to provide legal representation for women in need. In addition, the National Women's Political Caucus, or the NWCP, was co-founded by Gloria Steinem, Shirley Chisholm, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Bella Abzug in 1971. The NWCP focused on integrating women into different political positions, expanding women's reproductive rights, and addressing workplace inequality. Activists and agitators used many different forms of resistance, including public protests, legal defense, organized debates, media campaigns, and coalition and alliance building. Conclusively, second wave feminism was a very important political movement here in the US that greatly pushed women's rights forward. It was aimed towards equality in education, legislative policies, the workplace, and even on a familial and individualistic level. However, this wave lacked many forms of inclusivity and intersectionality, which is what fueled third wave and modern day feminism.